Hello viewers, welcome to the Creative Think Tank. My name is Elizabeth, your host as always. Who says we cannot earn money through the internet? Who says we cannot also earn money through social media? A number of times people come through, the olden generation keeps saying, young kids using a lot of social media, not knowing we can definitely earn a living from social media. Today in studio, we have Billy Aaron, aka Mr. Influencer, aka Mackenzie, and he's going to give us an insight of the influencing or the gig economy when it comes to social media. Let's have him introduce himself. You're welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Elizabeth.
Kindly introduce yourself.
My name is Agimo Aaron Billy, aka Mackenzie, aka Mr. Influencer Uganda. I'm an influencer, a digital marketeer, and a YouTuber.
Thank you very much, Mackenzie. So you are a marketeer, a YouTuber, a social media influencer. I believe this is basically branding.
Yes.
You are a brand itself. So kindly take us through, how did you become an influencer and why did you decide to become an influencer?
Well, becoming an influencer was hard. I had to get connections from friends. For example, Paul Webbs, that's Mr. Hashtag Uganda. We decided working together in the year 2017 to 2018. I was with Cyrus Mwonge, so we created up a team. We decided to work together. Gigs came in, for example, advertising online, that's the digital marketing and the branding, so that we get money out of it, like the influencing part. We create awareness for companies, awareness for a lot of things. Yes.
So many young people, especially during the lockdown, you'll find that people that were not signed into these different applications also decided to go through, because they had to do away with the boredom. They had to find a way of earning a living.
Yes.
What does it take for a young person to become an influencer on these different social media platforms?
It doesn't take much to really be an influencer. You just have to have the niche to what you're really doing, the numbers, because these days companies really need numbers. When you have numbers, that means followers. If you have the followers, a company will look at your following and they will say, okay, this will do for us. They will push our company big, beyond borders. That's what some companies look at. But people these days look at the content, the kind of content. If you have the content, however much you have, 500 followers, 1K followers, they'll pick you up and put you on board. You work with them. Yeah.
So also, to the same question, how does a young person get these numbers? For instance, I'm just out of school, or I am still in school, but then I'm looking up to Mr. Influencer or Silas, the different people that you mentioned, and I see you have a huge following on Twitter. How does a young person get there? Because I believe that is the start of everything.
Yeah.
For a company to pick you out and say, we want to work with this particular person, we want to give this person money to do ABCD, they need to have numbers. But how do we get those numbers?
Getting numbers is hard. It's pretty hard, because I've gone through a lot. I've opened up a lot of handles that have been taken by Jack Dorsey, the CEO of Twitter, but nevertheless, we open up new ones. Getting numbers, you just have to associate with a lot of big people, like people who have numbers already, so that you work with them. When you work with them, they'll introduce you to a lot of people in their circle. When you meet them, they'll talk to you how to get your niche, how to get everything sorted out, so that you be at the top also, because it's very, very hard. I've also fought tooth and nail to really get there, but now I'm also there.
Okay, so you came up with the name Mackenzie, Mr. Influencer. How did it lead to that? I see it's far apart from your actual names, but then I believe it's also something you decided to take on as a brand. How did it come up?
When I was in my secondary school, I was just completing HSC. That was senior 5 and senior 6. I was a DJ. I liked having fun, going partying, partying with Denzel, the one of XFM and Urban TV. So he put me on board, and I was like, okay, because he's now a DJ right now. I used to follow a lot of DJs like DJ Roger, DJ LL, DJ Aluda, DJ Chris. There were many, so I decided to fall off from the DJ career because I didn't have the money, I didn't have the resources, I didn't have the equipment to become a DJ. Because when you want to be a DJ, you need to have your own equipment. You have to have time scheduled for every company that calls you to work for them. So when I branched off, I had to go to the influencing part, the digital marketing part, to look for the money. Because when you have the money, you have everything. You have to buy the equipment, you have to really reschedule your programs very well, and yeah, it's pretty good.
Okay, thank you very much. That was a really great insight. But now let's go back to the bit of influencing. Your very first gig. How much did you input in and how much did you gain as a profit?
You don't need to really put in a lot because you definitely need your laptop, your phone, your knowledge, your content.
There's internet.
Yeah, there's internet, but now again, you just have to put data, then they give you the content. Rather, they give you the work to do it. They give you the pictures, the media, the handles, the people to tag. For example, the companies, you tag their names. Yeah, and it was not that big. I gained little money, but with time, you go on building. You just can't start from the top. You have to start from the bottom. Because when you start from the top, you may fall and don't really know what was in the bottom. So you have to start from the bottom to know really gradually how they grow, how the influencing part takes you up. Yes.
Okay, so let's also talk about the gig economy. I know we've been talking about it, but in brief. How does one get a gig?
For one to get a gig, you really have to be so active. You have to be aware of everything that's happening worldwide, in your country and outside, because they can give you, for example, a gig of HIV awareness, and you really don't know how they prevent it, how they suppress it, how it's been all over the world. So for you to get a gig on social media, you have to have connections. That's one. You have to have niche. You have to have content. You have to have knowledge about the HIV, the work that they're really giving you to influence for them. Yes.
Okay, so amidst the lockdown, you'll find that most people came to fame due to social media and influencing. But then the money was also not there.
Yes.
A point reached when everything was so calm, there's nothing to influence about besides adopting to social media or adopting to the digital means. How did you on a personal level, how did the pandemic affect your influencing gigs or career?
The pandemic has seriously damaged my work, because most of the work I used to do was more of the party sides, like in a bar, in a club, in fields, for example, like in grounds, entertainment grounds, like Katikati, like Nambole, where artists from different countries would come in, fly in, and have concerts, all that. So when they closed the borders, when they closed the airport, we stopped pushing gigs. Gigs were little, whereby people were always selfish and giving themselves gigs. For those who had connections with those in the system, still in the system, in the field, would get the gigs. So me, I was affected because I didn't have money, I didn't have anywhere to call or anyone. Even the people who used to give me gigs used to shy away from me. So I decided to chill and decided to be a YouTuber. I'm not that long being a YouTuber. It's been, I think, a year or two. So yes, my YouTube has been doing well, yet to monetize it, but still not good in Uganda. I just have to disappear in Uganda and find a location whereby it would work well for me.
Okay, speaking of still not good in Uganda, I found that the different social media platforms, the people that have really good numbers and are Ugandans on these platforms,
Yes.
do not earn as much as we are told or as much as we expect.
Yes.
How does that work out? Because you're here saying you need to shift to another country. By that you mean shifting the account.
Yeah.
How does it work if you cannot get this amount of money or this amount of fame in your own country? How sure are you you're going to get it elsewhere?
For that, I was saying via YouTube, because YouTube in Uganda, you need to have a PayPal account for your YouTube to be monetized and link it to a suitable bank account of a YouTube need. Because Uganda, you can't have a PayPal account. For your account to be monetized, for your YouTube channel to be monetized, you have to be in different countries where they avail you with a PayPal account.
Okay, you'll find that people keep adjusting these different accounts. Say you're on Twitter, you're now on YouTube, you've gone to TikTok, but you'll find that some of these accounts are totally left out. What is the theory behind this? If someone is so famous on Twitter, they're totally ignoring Instagram or Facebook for that matter.
Sometimes why people ignore social media platforms is that sometimes they really feel they don't fit there. Sometimes the followers are really lagging them behind. They don't have friends to really chat with on that other particular social media platform. So they shift because they've heard rumors. My friend is on the other social media platform. Let me go join. Because it's easy getting followers on the other side. But sometimes you just have to really think hard. Why are you really joining that platform? Are you going to build a brand? Are you going to bring a lot of huge, like a huge number to that app? Are you going to really make a name that will sound beyond borders? It's just simply because you don't have a brand and a name to really stay on that particular, platform. It's because you really don't have that energy, that vigor to really stay there.
Okay, let's take a little step into branding and building a name for yourself. When it comes to Twitter, you'll find that some people, we get these notifications or these feeds every day. I'm new to this platform, show me around. And people have different perspectives of how to gain followers or how to build up their brand on Twitter. You'll find that people are posting naked pictures, people are posting, trolling their friends, causing chaos, having wars on Twitter just to gain followers. So how, as an influencer, and you said since 2017 up to date, how have you been able to see to it that you do not drive into that lane? Because there is this pressure that comes about. We need a donor or a client comes and they need persons with, let's say, 1K or 5K followers, but you do not have the 5K followers and you really need the money, you really need the gig. How have you overcome such pressure basing on also the content that you put out to gain followers?
For you to get a gig and you're not driving towards that kind of content or that kind of way of getting followers, you just have to get a connection. Right now we call them the gig plugs, because a gig plug is a person who will call a fellow influencer to really put you on board to work with that company. So you just have to get a gig plug, that connection, talk to him, however much followers you have, talk to him. Tell him you have such and such content. You give him the one of the gigs you've pushed, one of the hashtags, the trails you've ever pushed. Give him some hours. He will think about it. Then he will call you on board. Yeah.
What are some of the challenges that you have faced in this gig economy? Because you'll find that for what I've had done in the corridors, you'll find that clients undergrade you and pay you less for the work you have done. But I mean, are those one of the challenges or among others?
Some challenges these days. These days, the social media relationships, social media couples. So these days, couples give each other gigs. They don't give
there
them.
Are social media couples too.
Yeah.
Oh God. Okay.
So when you have a boyfriend on social media who's gaining big and has a brand, of course, you, the girlfriend, won't be there poor. If you're also on Twitter, they will give you the gig so that you eat the money together. But right now, it's very, very hard for someone to get gigs, because I can't be here, Elizabeth, you're there, you're poor, I have gigs, numberless gigs, and I have people to give, and I miss you out. I have to give you a gig. Come on board, work with me.
So it's like the day-to-day work, technical know-how.
Yes, because it's pretty hard getting gigs these days. It's very, very hard. Considering the pandemic has come in, nowhere to go, you're locked in your room, no data. Now Africell is closing, where I used to, get my data, but now
It's
it's
like
expensive.
a mobile.
Network.
I know.
Yeah.
So among the challenges, every place does have challenges, but among the challenges, there's that really nice bit of being in a particular place or doing a particular thing. So if you don't mind me asking, as an influencer since 2017 to date, what has been your highest paying gig? And for how long has it lasted?
Gigs don't last, because you're going to get a gig right now, and it's going to take a while for you to get a gig, because these days there are a lot of people joining Twitter, there are a lot of people joining Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, WhatsApp, because now we have WhatsApp influencers and all that. So I think the highest paying gig I've got has been around 250 to 300,000 Ugandan shillings. It's pretty small, but nothing to do. It's the economy of Uganda, but we look towards to big paying gigs, for example, those of 1 million and above, because it really gives you the urge to really work with them and tell them, you know what, maybe I can be your brand ambassador, maybe I can work with you for life, maybe a contract or sign something with you, work with you, because if you put out good content for them, if you really give them the content and the numbers they really need, you of course sit down with them, they'll call you and they're like, you really pushed us very well, would you want to really work with us again? You would sign contracts with them to work with them for a lifetime, because these days people are grabbing brand ambassadorship. You can't be there without a job that is paying you weekly or yearly or daily, because those brand ambassadorship, you get like a lot of endorsements, you get their products, you influence them at any given time, because you really need to push. However much they're not paying you, you'll have that love and support and say, you know what, being an influencer, you really need to be an active, because if you really want to be a good influencer, you have to really be so active online, follow all gigs that are around, follow all companies, follow all like a lot of campaigns that go through the hashtags, because these days pushing a gig, you really need not only a gig, you just have to use hashtags. If you use a hashtag, your tweet will really go beyond borders, because hashtags really work.
Okay, thank you very much, Mackenzie. As we come to the end of this, what advice would you give a young person that wants to indulge into the influencing world?
I would tell them to really join the influencing world. It's just because it's pretty hard. You can join, but have something somewhere else to really give you the revenue, the money you really need, because the influencing part is 50-50. Today you have, tomorrow you don't have, but it's a good deal, because we call each influencer a mini celebrity, because you'll get things for free. For example, if you're in a club and there's an event, you don't need to pay for a ticket, you don't need to really talk to anyone, you just have to enter, because somewhere, somehow they know you on TV, you just have to tell them your name and you enter. But it's a good deal, it's a good move. You can indulge yourself in being a social media influencer. It's a good one.
You can also build up a brand just like Mr. Influencer here. However, what is your niche? He was also telling us, how do you drive yourself to do all these things? Remember, at the end of the day, the goal is to earn yourself some money. Don't go broke as a young person. This is the Creative Think Tank, and I am Elizabeth Zipporah Akol. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, that is Faraja Television, and also subscribe to Mr. Influencer's YouTube channel, that is
Mr. Influencer UG.
Exactly. Follow us on all our social media platforms as well, that is Faraja Television on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Have a lovely week.